Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's hard to believe that it is already this time of the year. I feel like so many things have happened and the time keeps flying by, and all of a sudden we're on the precipice of spring. And we come to this place with so many different needs in our hearts, I think. I think we come to Shabbat to pray. We come to be in community. We come to draw strength from one another. Some of us come to celebrate moments of joy and simcha. Some of us come with deep sorrow in our hearts. And yet, I think that one of the gifts of our tradition is however we enter into this space, I think we leave with some level of hope and peace and joy in our hearts afterwards. So with that in mind, I'd like to begin on page 67 as we read together the bottom of the page. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, to shut out, to hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We'll begin on page 68, Modeh Moda'ani, thanking God to restoring our souls to our bodies every morning. Moda'ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shechazarta binishmati bechemla, bechemla, rabba emunatecha. Moda'ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shechazarta binishmati bechemla, bechemla, rabba emunatecha, rabba emunatecha. Page 74. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Va'ani baruch hastecha avo v'itzecha, eshtachaveh ehecha kodshecha be'iratecha. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. On page 77, at the top we read together, Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom, you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware we would lack the strength to stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofecho basar, umafli la'asot. Page 78. Thank you to God for bringing us the purity of our souls. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shanata Tabi, Shanata Tabi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi, Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shanata Tabi, Shanata Tabi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Baruch atah Adonai asher biyado nefesh kol chai, veruach kol basar ish. Page 80. Continue on these in the following 3 pages for Nisim b'chol yom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sach vivina lehavchin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rakah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, mabi sharumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten leyaif koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'avir sheina me'enai, u'tenuma me'afapai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, sha'asani b'tselem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, sha'asani bat chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, sha'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Page 88 on the bottom together. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all. On page 94. Baruch Shamar v'haya ha'olam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Oseh v'reishit, Baruch Omer v'oseh, Baruch Gozer u'mkayem, Baruch merachem ha'aretz, Baruch merachem ha'briot, Baruch meshalem sachar tov lireav, Baruch Hai La'ad V'kayam Lanetzach, Baruch Bodeh U'Matzil, Baruch Shemo, Baruch atah Adonai melech mechulal batishbachot. Continue on page 100, Psalm 150. Hallelujah, 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 El Bekadsho, hallelujah, Berki Yahuzo, hallelujah, Big Virotov, hallelujah, Kerov Gula, hallelujah, 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 B'teika shofar, hallelujah, B'neva v'chinor, hallelujah, B'tofu machol, hallelujah, B'milim ve'ukav, hallelujah, 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 B'tzil tzalei shama, hallelujah, B'tzil tzalei trua, kol haneshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Page 108, we rise for the Baruch Hu for comfortable. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Page 110. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvarei choshech, oseh shalom uvarei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam bechochma asita, malah ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shavach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or she'asita yefa'arucha sela, or chadash al Tzion ta'ir, v'nizkeh chulanu mehera le'oro, baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'me'orot. Page 114. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch page 116. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam Beshivtecha beveitecha uvlechtecha vaderech ushochbecha ukumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot beineinecha uchtavtam amazuzot beitecha uvisharecha. Page 118. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor Daber al b'nei Yisrael va'amarta lehem va'asi lahem letzitzit al kanfei vigdehem ledorotam v'natnu al tzitzit hakana b'tzil techelet v'haya lachem letzitzit uritem oto uzchartam et kol mitzvot Adonai Va'asitem otam ve'lo taturu acharei levavchem ve'acharei einechem asher atem zonim acharechem leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai vehitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeit yedchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet. As a side note, if you're looking for a siddur, it is not the one on the shelf. Everybody here has a Shabbat one, yes? Shabbat. Excellent. Thank you. Those are in here from when we do our tefillah at YLP on Wednesdays, so sorry for the confusion. We are going to continue on page 122. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, norah tehilot osei fela. Norah tehilot osei fela. Shir chadasha shibechu ge'ulim leshimcha svatayam. Yachad kulam hodu vehimlichu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, norah tehilot osei fela, norah tehilot osei fela. Sur Yisrael, kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, ufedehinu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo, kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. I'm sorry. We are on page 124. I just went right into it, folks. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachav, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, page 128. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav V'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach Umorid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Amunato, Lishenei Afar, Nichamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umito Melech, Melech Meimit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atal HaChayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Page 130. Nekadesh et Shimcha Ba'olam, Keshem Shemakti Shimo Tobi Shmei Marom, Kakatuv al Yad Nevi'echa, V'kara Za'el Zeh ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech haaretz kevodo. Adir Hadirenu Adonai Adonenu, Madir Shimcha bechol haaretz, Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, vehu Yashmienu, berachamav leinei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohai Zion, ledor vador, hallelujah. Ledor vador nagi god lacha, ulenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nakdish, v'shivcha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush, leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We'll continue silently for the next few pages all the way through page 148. Nope, page 142, I believe, where we'll join together for a prayer for peace using either the words on the page or the prayers in your heart. Say shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru bimru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Just a moment, we are turning to page 244 for Seder Kriyat HaTorah, where we take the Torah from our ark and read it. We are going to be beginning reading from the book of Leviticus. I do not have a plout actually on me. Hold on. Yes, if I could have one, please. Thank you. I want to tell you what page number we're following along with, but it will be reading from Leviticus chapter 1, verse 1. 660 in the new one if you're following along. Thank you, Jeff. Actually, you know what? While you're up here, would you like to help me with the Torah service? Thank you. So we're going to be reading from starting on page 660, where we're starting this new book. And I'm going to kind of save my talking about this until after I'm done reading, because what I'd really like to do is show you something very special about the Torah. Those of you who are in Torah study saw it on the screen, but I want to show it to you in our Torah, because I think there's something really special about actually seeing it in the scroll that makes it look different than on the screen. So we're going to begin on page 244. I'm going to invite everyone to please rise if you're able. And we're going to go to the ark. Ein kamacha b'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kama'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol amim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai melech, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim, heitiv avirtzonecha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Ki vecha levad batachnu, melech el-ram v'nisa, Adon olamim. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udevar Adonai miYerushalayim. Page 248. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadlil Adonai iti, uneramema Shemo Yachtav Lecha Adonai Hagedula V'Hagevura V'Hatiferet V'Hanetza V'Chachot Ki Chol Bashamayim Uvaretz Ki Chol Bashamayim Uvaretz Lecha Adonai HaMamlacha V'Yamit Naseh Lechol Derosh. You may be seated. Sorry. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Would you like to do the Aliyah? You're already up here. Unless somebody else would like the honor of the Aliyah, which is fine too. Oh, no. Well, my tikkun is officially detached. That is okay. I got it over 20 years. It's a hard thing to say out loud. A long, long time ago in Israel. It's a hard thing to say. So I think it's nothing that a little bit of tape will not fix. So for the honor of the Aliyah this morning, I'd like to invite Jeff and everyone.
Sure.
Jeff, what is your Hebrew name?
Yitzchak ben Shlomo Halevi.
Ya'amod Yitzchak ben Shlomo Halevi Aliyah LeTorah. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bochar banu mikol ha'amim v'notan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vayikra Moshe. Vayedaber Adonai elav. Me'ochel moed lemor daber al b'nei Yisrael v'amarta lehem Adam ki akriv mikem korban l'Adonai min habahema umin habakar umin hatzon takrivu et korbanchem imola korban min habakar zachar tamim yakrivenu el petach ohel moed yakrivoto lirtzono lifnei Adonai v'samach yado el rosh ha'olah v'nirtzalo lechaper alav.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei lanu nota b'telchenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So the verses I just read, thank you, Jeff, said that God called out to Moses and spoke to him from the tent of meeting, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them." And then it goes on to talk about all of the sacrifices that we're going to talk about throughout the book of Leviticus. This one in particular talks about how to offer an offering of cattle, so that if there is a burnt offering, you shall make the offering of a male without blemish, and it shall be accepted on your behalf. And after that, you will be able to make expiation, reparations of some sort for the sins. It goes on to talk about all kinds of different offerings. There are 5 total in this Torah portion alone. Everything from the meal offering, the mincha offering, to the burnt offering, to a guilt offering. And then because every time we realize that we have done something wrong, we also have to make a reparation offering. and make sure that we are not only acknowledging it, but fixing and repairing. And yet, I want to show you something very important about the text. So if anybody feels comfortable, please come join me around the Torah. You'll see here that in the book of Vayikra, in the book of Leviticus, that the beginning as something of it's a textual anomaly in some ways that is very meaningful. So we always can tell the beginning of a new book of Torah because there's a few spaces that are left between. It makes it very easy, which is nice. But in this first word, Vayikra, you notice that the aleph is teeny, teeny, tiny compared to the rest of the text. There's an aleph right next to it. It's a fraction of the size. As I've been studying Safrut, I can promise you that the halacha, which is very, very exact, has specific numbers of quill marks of the width of your quill that is supposed to be for each letter. So it's a mistake if you don't have them in those specifications, except in very specific instances, like the small aleph that's here in Vayikra. There's so many different commentaries that talk about why this might happen, right? Why would we have a small aleph here? And the difference that is pointed to are kind of two big pieces. One is that the small aleph kind of denotes the difference between Vayikar, which is the word that God used that the Torah uses when God appeared to Balaam, which is a pagan prophet. And so that happened by chance, right? That connotes chance or happenstance, coincidence, versus Vayikra, which is a very intentional God calling to Moses. So that is the difference in meaning, but what they really point to, as we studied in Torah study today, is it actually looks to Moses' character as to why the small a was written. The sages teach us that it is because we know Moses to be humble and realizing that, or believing that he's not better than anyone else just because he has this incredible relationship with God. We have the small aleph so that he said, I'll only write it if I can write it small because I don't want to be bigger than my britches, so to speak. So that's why we have this small aleph here. And I think it's really fascinating, and I can tell you that there are other conventions like it in Torah, and if we look at them, we would see it, but this is the only time you'll see a small aleph like that, so I think it's lovely to get to see it in person. All right.
It kind of looks bigger than I expected.
Well, it still has to be legible, so it's...
So he did it as small as he could.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could be smaller, but it's a specific size comparatively to the rest of the text. When I write it, I do. Yes, when I write it, I use a quill. It's a big process to carve your own quill. I've been working on it, and I would say me and most other sofairs and sofairets will tell you that's the hardest part of the process, and I agree with them. Getting it the right size so that you can get the exact right for the spacing you have, it's a feat. So yes, so also you'll notice this Torah in particular has been kind of sewn together from different places, and we know some of the history, but we don't know all of the history. And you can see if you look at it that this is a little bit brown comparatively to this black over here. So it just shows that it's a little bit different writing. And this is a patch, yes. So lots of ways to fix Torahs. All right, so thank you. We're going to go ahead and put that out. Thank you, Jeff. Any number of those. The question was, do scribes work sitting or standing? So you could work standing. I don't know many who do because having bending over that far would be really hard. Most of them work sitting. I have a little table easel that I work from because my back like does not like bending over so far. So some scribes work on drafting tables where they can move it up a little bit. But you have to remember you're working with ink, so you can't have it totally parallel or your ink will shift around a little bit. So it's a very precise art, and everybody does it a little bit differently according to their own preferences and their own styles in writing. And so when I started to write, I was only a few months after back surgery, so my teacher said, here's a link to this like stand, a tabletop stand that I think you should get that's adjustable, and that's how I write. So it just depends on what you need and who you are. It doesn't specify anything in the halacha about how one should sit or stand while writing, only what comes out of your hand in the ink. Does it specify what? It does specify male. Yes, there are. Yes, so there are lots of categories of people who are excluded from writing Torah. There, there are some expected ones, like children should not write Torahs. They're not of age, but it does include that it excludes women, it excludes people with disabilities, it excludes people who don't follow halacha to a specific kind of intention. It's one of the most painful, I think. I always start when I teach classes now with that text because it's a really painful text to learn that that you're excluded for something that you feel connected to. And that's why I think for me, in my rabbinate, a lot of it is about reclaiming tradition and ritual that has been exclusive to people, where I think ritual should be inclusive, and our values dictate that we are egalitarian and we are inclusive to all people. And so part of what I love about what I'm doing is I feel like it's really reclaiming this for liberal communities. So yes, people who, if I were to ever write a mezuzah or tefillin or a Torah, or even fix our Torahs, people who do not believe that women should be writing would not feel good about that, and that would be a limiting factor for them. But our community and other liberal communities don't hold by those things, and we put our values in a different space. So it's about creating, and I think that the world of liberal scribes is very small right now, and I think it's starting to get recognition and starting to grow. But like so many other things in our tradition, as liberal Jews, we've felt like it's beyond us. This is kind of one of those things now that we're recognizing, oh, we can own this too. This is ours to inherit and ours to work on. So that's my soapbox about. We could write a Torah and take it to the wall, God willing, one day. I am far from that right now, but yes, it is. Right now I'm working on a Megillah, so we shall see. Maybe one day we'll start with reading my Megillah for Purim. How many women have actually written a Sefer Torah? I believe in the last article I read that there's maybe a couple dozen in circulation. The first woman to write a Torah was named Jen Taylor Friedman, and she wrote one, I believe it was 2007, was the first one that we've known to be written entirely by a female scribe. So I am happy to answer questions all day about Safriut, but I'm gonna move us back towards the service, and believe me, please ask me because I'm happy to talk more about it. But having just read this Torah, understanding how sacred it is to our community, we always offer a Misha Berach for healing with it in our midst while we're drawing our strength from it. So we're going to be on page 253. In our community, we're praying for healing for Rabbi Aryeh Azriel, Shally Babinder, Hayden Batchelder, Virginia Becker, Lisa Brunkhorst, Marcella Bucknam, Sandy Christofferson, Belva Dunnigan, Rich Grunwald, Cindy Hamilton, Joyce Harlan, Erica Ruby, Tony Hutfless, Nora James, Deborah Kaplan, Ronald Kaplan, Renee Kasner, Gail Knapp, Zach Lake, Karen Levine, Bailey Linthicum, Emily Linthicum, Roxy May, Kim Martin, Leslie Roberts Miller, Barbara Norton, Nadine Ostro, Betty Pipkins, Mark Ratner, Robert Rickover, Chloe Ring, Holly Rosenberg, Rabbi Robert Scharf, Wade Seifert, Ruth Schukert, Christy Sigwing, Susie Silverman, Susan Snitzer, Chrissy Stewart, Matt Stewart, Scout Traxler, Deborah Tuller, Laura J. West, Brent Wine, and Viv Zwicky. If you are thinking of someone or praying for healing on this Shabbat for anyone that you know or love, please share their name with our community so we can pray with you. Thanks, Jen. Thank you, Jeff. Are there any online, Eli? And also for Eileen and for John's parents. We hold those names in our hearts along with all of the people in this world who are in need of healing of mind, of body, of spirit. Particularly, I'm holding in my heart the community in West Bloomfield, Michigan, as they are healing from a terrible attack last week. They are all in need of spiritual healing, and their security guard in need of some physical healing. So I'm holding them in my heart as well. Page 253. Misha berach avotenu ve'imotenu Avraham Yitzhak ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu yivarech et hacholim ha'ele HaKadosh Baruch Hu yemale rachamim alehem Lehacholim mamu l'rapotam l'hachazikam Vayishlach lehem mehera Refuah shlema min hashamayim, refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf, hashta ba'agala uvizman kariv, v'nomar amen. We are going to return the Torah to the ark in just a moment when I can, there it is. Actually, you know what, before we do that, we're going to offer one more prayer. For 2 more prayers. Why not, right? We're going to offer our prayer for the state of Israel as well as for our own country on page 259. Avinu Shabashamayim Sur Yisrael V'Go'alo Barech et Medinat Yisrael Reshit Smichat Geulatenu. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. And on page 258, a prayer for our own country. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Together we say amen. On page 256, we will return the Torah to the ark. I'll invite everybody to please rise as we dress the Torah. Can you just lift that up? Etzhaim hi lemachazikim ba v'tom heha meushar teraheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu ish yameinu kekedem. Thank you, Jeff. Please be seated. Just kidding. Please don't be seated. Please rise again. I do it every time. You should expect it. Page 282, Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tekeru l'yotzer breshit, shalo asanu kagoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpechot ha'adama, shalo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, u'mishachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'ne'emar V'haya Adonai L'melech al kol ha'aretz Bayom ha'hu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad. Now you can be seated. We turn to the mourner's Kaddish. Yes, this was your aerobics class and, services and exercises, good stuff. But we turn our thoughts to those who are no longer with us, but the people we hold in our heart as we move through the world and who guide our steps, regardless of whether they're physically with us or not. We know that death ends a life. It doesn't end a relationship. And part of how we continue building our legacies and holding on to their truths is by coming together and sharing their names and saying Kaddish in memory of the people we care for. If I say the name of a loved one, of somebody you're remembering, I invite you to rise and remain standing. We are in Shiva the first 7 days of mourning for Joyce Ashley. We are in Shloshim the first 30 days of mourning for Rabbi Andrea Weiss and for Nita Gail Green. We are going to lay to rest in this coming week Abram Wisnia. We recall the yard sites of Susan Brewer, Carol Ray Brodkey, Gertrude Rothkop Brodkey, Michael Jacob Burney, Helen Wessel Cherniak, Rosella M. Sivan, George Cohen, Molly Delman, David Dvorkin, Jean Dvorkin, Ike Fieblowitz, Phyllis Frank, Rose W. Friedman, Marilyn Gendler, Phil Galinsky, Bernard Gladstone, Anna Goldstein, Jerome Grossman, Joseph M. Horwich, J. Benjamin Katz, Clara S. Krasny, Frank M. Krasny, Sally B. Levin, Peter Levine, Lillian Sally Levy, Adolph Merer, Doris Shoshone Micklin, Dr. Nathan Muskin, Sadie Newman, Harold Orrick, Delphine Ott, Jack Rockman, Herman Roseberg, May Rosenberg, Isaac Rubin, Joseph Scharf, Saul H. Shapiro, Leona Pollock Shapiro, Marion S. Silverstein, Dr. Julius B. Steinberg, Ben Wine, and Gerald Worthsafter. If there are others that you are remembering on this Shabbat, I invite you to share their names with our community. Thank you, Jenna. Thanks, Eileen. Eli? Thank you. We rise together as one community, as page 294, or Mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'yizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam ulamei almaya, Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudusha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. We say together, amen. Please be seated. A couple of announcements before we conclude today. First of all, thank you to Eli for helping with our tech this morning. Thank you to Ed and Scott for all they do in the back of the house. And thank you to our security officer for helping to make sure that we are safe. In case you've missed every memo that's come out in the last couple of weeks, Passover is upon us. I'm not panicking. Don't worry, but it is only a week and a half away. So please make sure that you sign up for Second Seder if you'd like to join us. April 2nd, it's a Thursday night. We're very pleased to be able to offer this at $25 per adult and $12 for kids, thanks to our Access Fund. We're also hosting what I'm very excited about this, our first Jammies and Jeans Seder, which will be April 4th. We're bringing the heart of the Seder in life in a new way. Me and our Director of Education, Julia Veen, are going to be creating and running a Seder for really anyone, multi-generational. We say for the young at heart, little ones, grown-ups who love them, anyone in between. It's going to be a really fun and interactive morning. We're going to tell the story in a hands-on way. There's going to be a make-your-own haroset bar. There's going to be a 4-question sing-along, all sorts of things to make the Seder what it really should be, which is fun and interactive and feeling like every generation feels the story that they too are coming out of Egypt. And then for the last morning of Pesach on April 8th at 9:45 before services, our very favorite chef, Dennis DePort, will be cooking breakfast. So please join us, and then we'll follow with our 10:30 Shacharit service and Yizkor for those who are remembering people. And then at the end of the month, April 24th through 26th, we are doing a full weekend of artists in residence for Paper Midrash. Isaac and Rabbi Shana Bringard Bialik will be with us for Friday night services, as well as participating in Tat Shabbat. They'll be doing a Saturday morning program as well as a special Saturday evening program, and they'll be with us for YLP on Sunday. So registration is open. Please let us know that you're coming and join us for a really meaningful weekend. I have to tell you, I admire their art so much. They do really beautiful work, and they're going to teach us their process of weaving together paper and art and Torah in a really incredibly meaningful way. And finally, if you should have received our Temple Israel congregational survey. If you have not, please let us know, but it should be in your inbox at least once. If you haven't done that yet, we're about halfway through, and we're hoping to get as many folks to participate as possible to help us understand and create the direction and strategic plan for our congregation moving forward. And to do that, we want to make sure that every voice is represented. So please take a few minutes. It shouldn't take more than 5-ish minutes to fill out. So as always, there's lots going on. Rabbi Beanstalk is teaching a class on Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks and his writings. Is that correct? Tuesdays at 11 o'clock. And that, I hear, is having incredibly meaningful conversation and turnout. So if you would like to join, is it still okay to join late? Please join. And if you have questions, I'm sure Rabbi would be happy to answer them. Please ask if you have questions about any of what I said or anything that I haven't said. And we are going to conclude on page 321 with, 322 with Ein Keloheinu. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Chadonenu, Mi Chemalkeinu, Mi Chemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. And before we conclude, I neglected to give two more thank yous. First to Dory Bernstein, who is always helping to support our online community. And also, again, thank you to Jeff for helping me with the Torah service this Shabbat. And Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We will have Kiddush and Motzi in the community court momentarily.